Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Hart, and today I'll be going through my favorite spin-up plays, mid-range plays, and value plays on today's 8-game NBA slate on DraftKings. So if you're new to the channel, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell, and let's get into the slate breakdown after you like the video. As always, guys, make sure to follow me on Twitter, HartDFS. Today I'll be going game by game, just going through, my favorite spin-ups, some mid-range options, and some cheaper guys you guys can look at in each team. First game, Boston, Orlando. Tatum looks obviously like a great spend up. He's a guy, the minutes are secured. He's going to shoot the ball a ton. He's a good shooter. He can get the rebounds, assists, steals and blocks. So he's a guy who can stuff the stat sheet. 9-7 looks great for him. Jaylen Brown, kind of in that range where if you're playing up for a guy in the, 8, close to 9K, you're going to want a guy who, yes, Jaylen Brown can score the ball, really good scorer, but he just kind of lacks when it comes to rebounding, and assists. He's not the main, guard like Tatum. So I don't think you get to pay up for Brown. Would rather pay $1,000 more for Tatum, who has a little bit more upside with the double-double, with the rebounds and points and the assists. So yeah, prefer that. Paulo, 7,600. I do like him a good amount. I mentioned how, it's probably going to be his team, and it has. As you've seen the past two games, 18, 47 fantasy points, 46. So really like going to Paulo here, 7,600. Looks really, really solid. Wendell, 6,600. I mean, he does have some upside. Hasn't showed it. He's kind of taking a backseat to Paulo. But as we saw from last season, he can't get you, have a huge game. So if you want to take a shot there, you can. Franz Wagner looks okay. Cole Anthony might be the starting point guard. I know he came off the bench last game. But yeah, I do expect him to slide into starting point guard role. Don't really expect him to shoot 8 out of 12 again, but 5,900 for him. He does have a little bit of upside. Marcus Smart, he's just there. Terrence Ross, a little bit too scoring dependent for me, even though he is getting those minutes. Al Horford, I've mentioned him past two slates. It's one of those things, we saw him start like this last year, kind of going before the playoffs. This is kind of the games you got from Al Horford. He wasn't playing 34 minutes, which he's going to be playing this year. He's playing like that 23 to 28, wasn't shooting the ball a ton, just getting a couple points, rebounds, assists. And then we saw in the playoffs, he really went off. So he does have a ton of upside. Hasn't showed it yet. I do expect him to kind of pick it up here in the next few, I'd say weeks, games, but who knows? 5,100, you could definitely take a shot there. That's all I'm saying. Brogdon, 5,100, looks okay. Doesn't have a huge ceiling with the minutes. They're kind of, limited to around 25, so don't think you have to force it. That really does it. I mean, Bamba seen about 15 minutes off the bench. Same with Hampton. White, 4,200. I don't buy it. He's playing 25 minutes. Not a high usage guy. Just had a little bit of an outlier. 3 blocks, 7 rebounds. Don't think you have to force that, guys. Grant Williams, same thing. Kind of outperforming expectations. The minutes have been, decent the past 2 games, but once again, not a high usage guy. Don't really think you have to force that. And then Noah Vonleh is kind of the backup center behind Al Horford. That's really it. It's pretty much just Paulo, Tatum, and maybe if you want to take a dart throw on like Al Horford in that game for me. Detroit, Indiana, just 2 very bad teams. So I really like Halliburton, Cade Cunningham at the top. I mean, both young guards. They both have double-double upside when it comes to the points and assists. As you can see right here, Halliburton got that double-double. Cade Cunningham, he's the same thing. He's a guy who can get you a double-double when it comes to points, rebounds, assists. He's triple-double upside. So they look very solid. Ivy is just a little too pricey for me, 6,900. He's been great so far, but just prefer to pay a little bit more for Cade Cunningham. Buddy Hield looks okay, 6,300. Just a little too scoring dependent for me. Benedict Mathurin coming off the bench. Not sure why they're not starting him because he's been absolutely amazing, as you guys can see. In back-to-back games, 28 minutes, he's been going off. So do have a little bit of interest there at 6,100. Hopefully he starts soon because they really need him. Sadiq Bey, I do have a good amount of interest in Sadiq Bey, 5,500, especially in this game, this matchup. He's a guy who will shoot the ball probably 15 times a game, if not more. He's a good three-point shooter as well, so he can get you those rebounds, assists, blocks, steals. I do like Sadiq Bey a good amount in this game. Who else we got here? Bogdan, 2 scoring dependent for me. Isaiah Stewart playing about 30 minutes a game. Don't think he had to do it. He's splitting time with Jalen Durham. The biggest news in this game is Jalen Smith, if he's questionable. If he's in, I still think he's going to be limited some sort of minutes just because of that. He's coming off that injury, so not really sure. He also got hit in the face, so who knows? Keep an eye on this because if he's out, as I mentioned in my last slate, Isaiah Jackson only played 16 minutes, got you 30 fantasy points. I played him; it was great. Don't know if he'd start. They'll probably throw in like Goga alongside Terry Taylor, but Terry Taylor seeing limited minutes. They're going to dust off Brissett a little bit. But yeah, I mean, Goga could slide into that starting center spot alongside a guy like Terry Taylor. So definitely keep an eye on that. It will open up some, value plays, but still think you can take a shot on Isaiah Jackson. He's been limited in the minutes, but he can really pay off as you guys saw from last game. Moving on to Cleveland and Chicago. DeMar DeRozan looks like a great spend up. I mean, Zach is back, so it does hurt his stock a little bit, 9,600. Don't think you have to force it, especially a guy, he's got the upside there for rebounds and assists, but especially with Zach back, I just think he's going to kind of return more to that scoring role, not really doing too much when it comes to rebound and assists. So I don't think you have to pay that for him at 9,600. Tatum is pretty much the same price, and he's way more involved when it comes to rebounding and getting assists. So I don't think you have to do it. Excuse me. Donovan Mitchell, he looks pretty good, 9,200. Going to be the main guard, obviously, with Darius Garland still out, so don't mind going there. Zach LaVine, 8,200. I think it's just slightly too pricey. It looks like he's good to go. He'll be playing this game. Expect full run, full minutes. So he'll probably be super low owned. I don't mind taking a shot there. Vooch, 8,100, just absolutely burned us last game. Only played 30 minutes. I get they have, a back-to-back, but 30 minutes out of your second best player, what is that? Yeah, kind of burned us, 8,100. Don't love it. Jared Allen, 7,400. Looks decent. The Bulls shoot the ball a ton, not the best shooting team, so have a lot of rebounding opportunities. Evan Mobley looks pretty good here at 6,200. Nice to see him get 36 minutes, in that first game. But yeah, really like Evan Mobley at 6,200. He has huge upside here. Karis LeVert looks pretty solid, 5,800 for a starting guard. Actually, I really like Karis LeVert a lot. Now that Darius Garland's out, Karis LeVert's going to see the minutes. Do expect him to shoot the ball a ton more. He's the kind of guy that can do a little bit of everything. So I really like Karis LeVert a lot here at 5,800. I don't know why I was blanking out that Garland was out. Yeah, so yeah, I really like Karis LeVert to kind of assume that point guard role for the Cavaliers. I had Sumo, 5,600, starting point guard. Looks okay. Don't think you have to force it. Kevin Love, you could take a dart throw there, maybe hit some threes, get some rebounds, but don't think you have to force that. I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, Cedi Osman, will probably slide into a good amount of minutes off the bench, 25. Maybe they start him. But otherwise, I really don't think you have to go to anyone else. It's kind of just like the main starters on each side. Toronto, Miami, Jimmy Butler, 9,100, looks pretty solid. I don't love it, but looks okay. Rather pay up for or pay down for Siakam. Massive upside. He got a triple-double last game. Obviously, don't expect 11 assists a game. Kind of more in that 4 to 7 range, but he has huge upside, as we saw right there. So, good amount of interest there. Fred VanVleet, just a little too pricey for me, 8,300. Obviously, did very well. Got 4 steals the past 2 games. Don't know if you can really rely on that. I mean, he's great at getting steals, but 4 games just a little too much. So, do think that's kind of elevated his price a little bit too far for me. Bam's pretty cheap at 7,100. Hasn't flashed a big game yet, but he has that ceiling. Scotty Barnes, decent, 6,700. This is kind of the Scotty Barnes game you're going to get is that 35 fantasy point a game. I mean, I'd say Hero probably has the second most or the second highest ceiling in this game behind Siakam. So don't mind going there. Back-to-back games of 20 plus points. Going to shoot the ball a ton. You'd like to see him get more assists and rebounds, but that's kind of what you're going to get from Hero is that 25, probably 5 and 3. So looks okay there at 6,300. OG, okay. Gary Trent, just more of a shooting guard, score first. Not a lot, Victor may be back, Strus coming off the bench. It's just one of those things. It's, I'd rather just stick to the starters for me. They all play huge minutes on both sides, so I just think Siakam is, my favorite player. And then I'd say Bam or Tyler Hero, excuse me. Houston and Milwaukee. We have Giannis at the top, 11K. I mean, this man might go for 100 points against Houston, so looks like a fantastic spend up. Maybe some blowout risk, but don't mind going there. Drew Holiday, I don't actually mind going here at 8,600. Just you saw the absolute worst of worst games from Drew Holiday versus Philly. 2 of 15. Usually gets a few more rebounds. Usually gets some more, assists were fine, but 2 of 15, 6 points. His price went up. It's going to scare everyone away. He's a guy with huge usage. His ceiling's a little bit limited playing alongside Giannis, but as we saw in the playoffs last year, he can easily get you into the 40-plus range, if not 50-plus. So don't mind, going there at 8,600. Kevin Porter Jr., as I said, with these Rocket guys, they're going to play the minutes. Only scored 18 points. Kind of been limited on points the past 2 games, but do expect him to play a ton of minutes, so I don't mind going to him. Jabari Smith, just not for me. Expecting a ton of foul trouble for these bigs. Or Houston. Jalen Green, kind of a score first over, the other peripheral stats, but another guy, as I mentioned, he's going to play the big minutes, he's going to shoot the ball a ton, so he has huge upside, 6,200. Bobby Portis looks decent. Only 23 minutes. He did start off the game very, very bad. Picked it up, so you can definitely look to him. Sagoon, I think he's going to get the starting position. I know Bruno Fernando's been starting, but we saw last game, Sengun had a great game, 23-12, with some blocks and a steal and an assist. So 5,400 is a great price for him. It's just, I just really can't trust these bigs trying to guard Giannis. It's just going to be foul trouble nightmare. And Sengun's a guy who fouls a lot, so don't really think you have to force anything. Yeah, I'd say just, load up. If you're going to play this game, obviously load up on Giannis. Do like Drew a good amount. And then obviously you're going to want to run it back with Porter Jr. and I'd say Jalen Green. Memphis and Dallas. Luka at the top, 10-7. It's Luka. Need I say more going against the Grizzlies, who were on the back-to-back. Ja just went off 49 points, 73 fantasy points. This is going to be a great game to watch. I really like Luka here in this spot. Christian Wood, 24 minutes that first game, still went off 25 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists. That's kind of wild. It's insane. But 7,500 looks pretty good there for him. I'd rather, let me take that back. 7,500 is, I'd say, a little too pricey for me, a guy coming off the bench. Minutes are not guaranteed, even though it's a great matchup. It just kind of scares me a little bit. I like Bane the best, I think, for his price, besides obviously Luka and Jaws, the spend-ups. A guy who's going to shoot the ball a ton. He's a really good shooter, and he's been shooting the ball terribly the past 2 games. So I really expect him to kind of bounce back here against Dallas. So I do have a good amount of interest there. I'll just throw him in the player pool as of right now. Even if Dylan Brooks is back, don't really care. If he's back, it really helps out with not having to get play guys like Sadi. Sadi's still going to start, still going to get the minutes. He has upsides we saw last game once again. 3 blocks, 3 assists, some rebounds, points. So you can definitely look to him at 5,100. I guess he's a solid value play once again today. But if Dylan Brooks is back, that means, where is he? Conchar falls out of the rotation. We'll probably see maybe 15 minutes a game, so don't think you have to go there if Dylan Brooks is back. Tim Hardaway Jr., all their guys are kind of seen around 25 minutes off the bench. Tyus Jones looks like the best, pay down play for me. Pretty much just the 2 guys at the top for me, and then Desmond Bane. And then if you want a pay down option, you guys can look to Saudi Alame or Santi Aldama, and then maybe Tyus Jones. Moving on to the last 2 games, we have OKC in Denver. Jokic, 10-8. That's the Jokic we're used to seeing. Triple-double, 26, 12, and 10. So yeah, Jokic looks like he's back into MVP form. 10-8 going against OKC. Should just absolutely have his way. SGA, I told you guys he's going to be on one this year. 57 fantasy points that first game against Minnesota. He's a guy, even if they're going to get him blown out, he's going to play at least 30, 32, 33 minutes. So I don't mind him as a pay-up option. Josh Giddey, 7,900, looks okay. Rather pay up for SGA at that point. Jamal Murray may be back. He's questionable. We'll have to see if he's in. I still wouldn't pay that price. It doesn't really hurt anyone on Denver if he's in. Doesn't really help him either. Aaron Gordon, 7K, just too pricey for me. Porter Jr., once again, I'll mention him. Not really sure why he only played 28 minutes. Oh, it's because of foul trouble. Never mind. He's a guy who fouls a lot. If he stays out of foul trouble, he'd be a great play. 5,800 looks like a solid price here against OKC for a guy who will probably end up in the 7K range. Lou Dort, I actually don't mind going to Lou Dort here. He's going to shoot the ball a ton, 5,500. Good defender, so he can get you some steals and blocks. Going to rebound as well. So Lou Dort looks decent. I just don't trust any of these bigs trying to guard Jokic. Expect massive foul trouble for them, so don't need to force that. Trey Mann, if Jamal Murray's out, Bruce Brown may start again, so you could definitely look to him at 4,700. Looks like a decent play. Wouldn't expect him to score 20 points a game or 20 points again, but he's a guy that can score and do a little bit of everything on that stat sheet. So 4,700 for him looks decent. I'll mention Bones Highland once again. Not seeing a ton of minutes off the bench, which is kind of frustrating. I don't know why, because he's a great scorer. 14 points, 5 assists in only 19 minutes. So just free Bones. Let him play. I mean, that dude will go off for like 30 points a game. So always worth mentioning. Bones Highland, 4,300. That really does it. It's pretty much, it's hard to trust this game staying close, but that's what we have to do. But I really like Jokic, obviously SGA, and then I'd say Michael Porter Jr. and Lou Dort. Last game of the slate. I think it's a great one to stack. Sacramento plays fast. They don't play defense, but I do think they could definitely keep this game close. Paul George looks like a fantastic pay-up option. It's probably my favorite play-up option on this slate here at 9,300. Kawhi Leonard's out. John Wall's out. So Paul George going to be the main star, main guy on this team. Has double-double upside, triple-double upside, and really like Paul George going against this poor Sacramento team. De'Aaron Fox has been great to start the season. Obviously, 33 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists. Don't trust that price, that salary for him. Would rather obviously pay up for Paul George. Domantas Sabonis, he's a guy with huge upside, but 8,800 is just too pricey for me. Zubac, 5,800. Looks pretty solid here. Nice to see 35 minutes. Last season, we were only seeing about 25 minutes a game, even when there was like clearly no backups behind him. 35 minutes, if we can expect 30 plus minutes out of Zubac at 5,800, he looks great. So I'd say roll the dice there, but Ty Lue may screw us, so we'll have to see. Reggie Jackson, I think all the best plays are coming from this Clippers side. Obviously, Paul George is going to be the main guy, but Zubac is going to have to step up a little bit. Obviously not offensively, but just in terms of rebounding. Reggie Jackson is going to step up offensively as well with Paul George out, so I like him a good amount. Keegan Murray will probably play. I'm assuming he'll start. He looked great in the preseason, so 5,400. I don't mind taking a shot there. If this game does blow up for some reason, I'm sure he'll get run extended. So 5,400 for him looks great. Harrison Barnes, not for me. Herder, how many minutes did he play? 29. Did well, but I don't mind it. I mean, if you want to game stack this game, I think it's a solid idea. Norman Powell, I think he looks great here at 4,800. Had just a bad game. 22 minutes, 2 of 8. I do expect him. He's a guy who can absolutely just go off for like 30, 35 actual points. Can get you a couple rebounds and assists as well. So I like him a good amount here as a game stack option. And or senior, nah. Luke Kennard will get, I'd say, 25 minutes or so off the bench. 4,300 looks like a decent value play. Yeah, I mean, that really does. I think it's just, load up on these Clipper guys too cheap with Kawhi Leonard, John Wall being out. That's a good amount of minutes to go around, good amount of usage. So I'd say my favorite plays, obviously, from that game are going to be, where'd he go? Why didn't they add him? Paul George. Oh, there's too many guards, but yeah, we'll just add him here. Paul George, Reggie Jackson, Norman Powell. I'd say be safe, run it back with maybe Keegan Murray, and then just fill out your lineup with a few other guys, and that's kind of how I'm doing it. So if you like the video, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. See you guys in the next video. Peace.